In the journey of life, we often set our sights on big achievements. We dream of grand successes, life-changing moments, and monumental transformations. Yet, the truth is that the most profound achievements don't begin with massive leaps. They begin with small, seemingly insignificant steps. Small goals are the seeds of the greatest accomplishments. The human brain is designed to seek patterns, to repeat what feels familiar and comfortable. When we aim for something vast and extraordinary all at once, we often trigger resistance, fear of failure, self-doubt, and overwhelm. But when we break that grand vision into small, attainable steps, we create a pathway for change that feels manageable and achievable. Think of your brain as a garden. Every small action you take is like planting a seed. The daily rituals you commit to, whether it's a few minutes of meditation, writing a paragraph in your journal, or walking around the block, are like watering those seeds. Over time, those seeds take root, grow, and flourish into something extraordinary. The garden of your life is shaped not by one grand act, but by the consistent, intentional care you give it. Consider this: when you set a small goal, you shift your focus from the overwhelming enormity of what you want to achieve to the simplicity of what you can do right now. It's in this state of presence that you tap into your greatest power. Each small action builds momentum, and with momentum comes belief, and with belief comes transformation. Science shows us that habits are the foundation of change. Neural pathways in the brain are strengthened through repetition. The more you repeat a small, positive action, the more it becomes an automatic part of who you are. You're not just changing what you do, you're rewiring your mind to align with your vision of the future. And this is where the magic happens. As you commit to small goals, you're not only achieving tasks, but you're also changing your identity. You're becoming the kind of person who shows up, who follows through, who keeps promises to themselves. You're proving to yourself, day by day, that you are capable, resilient, and unstoppable. The beauty of this process is that small goals compound. Over time, they lead to exponential results. It's like climbing a mountain, not by focusing on the peak, but by taking one step, then another and another. Before you know it, you look back and realize how far you've come, not because you leapt to the top, but because you embraced the power of steady, intentional progress. So, I invite you to pause and ask yourself, what small step can I take today toward the life I want to create? What small promise can I make to myself and keep? It doesn't have to be monumental, it just has to be meaningful. Because small goals, repeated with purpose and passion, lead to the biggest achievements. Remember, greatness isn't about doing extraordinary things once. It's about doing ordinary things extraordinarily well over and over again. Every small victory matters. Every step forward counts. When you honor the small goals, you honor the process of becoming. And in the end, that's the biggest achievement of all. Not just reaching a destination, but transforming into the best version of yourself along the way. Each day, we wake up with a vast horizon of possibilities before us. Life often seems to demand grand leaps, monumental changes, and breakthroughs that redefine our existence. Yet, what if I told you that the most extraordinary transformations are born from the smallest, most consistent actions? Small goals. They may seem insignificant in the moment, but they carry profound power. Imagine a drop of water carving through stone, not because of its force, but because of its persistence. It is in the seemingly trivial moments, the unremarkable decisions, and the quiet acts of discipline that we create momentum. The human brain thrives on accomplishment. Each time we set a small, attainable goal and achieve it, our mind celebrates. Neurotransmitters like dopamine flood our system, reinforcing the belief, I can do this. I am capable. These small wins create a cascade of confidence, reshaping our mindset from one of doubt to one of empowerment. But here's the key. Small goals are not just about productivity or achievement. They are about rewiring our perception of what is possible. They teach us that progress is not made by giant leaps but by deliberate, incremental steps. When we focus on mastering the moment, the day, or even the breath, we are no longer overwhelmed by the magnitude of change. Instead, we become participants in a process of unfolding potential. Science supports this truth. Neural plasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and rewire, is most effective when we engage in repeated, intentional practice. When you aim to meditate for 5 minutes a day, prioritize a single healthy meal, or take one step toward a dream, you are not just accomplishing tasks. You are teaching your brain that change is safe, that it is possible, and that it is within your control. You see, the mind is a powerful tool, but it is also easily intimidated by complexity. The thought of losing 50 pounds, writing a novel, or transforming a career can paralyze us into inaction. Yet, committing to a single healthy habit, writing one paragraph, or sending one email feels doable. And that's where the magic begins. As we accumulate small victories, we generate energy. That energy turns into momentum, and momentum is the catalyst for exponential growth. Before long, those small goals become the foundation of something much greater. One healthy decision turns into a lifestyle. One act of kindness turns into a culture of compassion. One spark of inspiration becomes a wildfire of possibility. But the beauty of small goals lies not just in the external achievements, but in the internal transformation. Each time we honor a commitment to ourselves, no matter how small, we strengthen our identity as someone who can be trusted, who can persevere, who can create. Over time, this identity shift becomes the biggest achievement of all. Remember, the path to greatness is not paved with giant steps but with consistent, deliberate ones. It is the decision to show up every day and do the work, even when no one is watching. Because when you commit to small goals, you are sending a powerful message to the universe. I am ready to grow. I am ready to evolve. And I am ready to become the person I was always meant to be. So today, set a small goal. Not because it will change your life overnight, but because it will set the stage for transformation. Trust the process. Celebrate the progress. And one day, you'll look back and realize that those small steps were the foundation of your biggest achievements. When we think of achieving greatness, we often imagine grand, sweeping actions. We picture monumental efforts, leaps of faith, and towering victories that rewrite the course of our lives. But the truth, my friends, is far simpler and infinitely more profound. True transformation is not born from single, extraordinary moments. It is forged in the quiet, unassuming dedication to small, purposeful actions repeated over time. Imagine a drop of water falling on a rock. One drop may seem insignificant, incapable of making any difference. But drop by drop, day after day, year after year, that water carves through stone, shaping it into something entirely new. The same principle applies to our lives. Small actions, intentional, consistent, and aligned with our vision, hold the potential to create the biggest achievements we could ever imagine. Let me ask you, how often do we dream of change but remain paralyzed by the enormity of what lies ahead? We see the mountain before us and forget that it is climbed one step at a time. We focus so intently on the peak that we fail to appreciate the journey or the strength we gain along the way. We underestimate the power of starting small, the courage it takes to take just one step, and the momentum that builds from each one that follows. Science tells us that change begins in the brain. Every thought, every decision, every habit we form creates new neural pathways. When we decide to do something small, whether it's meditating for 5 minutes, journaling for 10, or practicing gratitude for a single moment, we are rewiring our brains. These small, seemingly insignificant actions are laying the foundation for a new version of ourselves, one that aligns with the life we envision. But let me be clear, small does not mean easy. In fact, it's often the small goals that require the greatest discipline. It's not the big, dramatic gestures that test us. It's the commitment to show up every day, even when no one is watching, even when progress feels invisible. It's waking up earlier than we want to, saying no to distractions, and staying true to the promises we make to ourselves. And in that discipline, we find freedom. We find transformation. We find the kind of success that cannot be measured by accolades but by the person we become. Consider this. Every great achievement in history started as an idea, a spark of inspiration. That spark grew because someone had the courage to nurture it, step by step, day by day. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They didn't wait for motivation or ideal circumstances. They began. They trusted the process, even when the results were invisible. And eventually, They're small actions compounded into something extraordinary. The same is true for us. Whether it's improving our health, deepening our relationships, pursuing a career goal, or mastering our emotions, the path is always the same. Small, consistent actions. Those actions become habits. Habits become a lifestyle, and a lifestyle becomes our destiny. So, I urge you, do not overlook the power of the small. Do not let the simplicity of a single step deceive you into thinking it doesn't matter. It matters more than you can imagine. Matters because it is the beginning. It matters because it creates momentum. And it matters because every great journey starts exactly the same way, with one step. Your biggest achievement is not the mountain you climb. It's the strength, resilience, and clarity you gain along the way. It's the person you become in the process. And it all begins with the smallest, most consistent actions. So start now. Start where you are with what you have. Set a small goal and commit to it. Trust that the ripple effect of your efforts will carry you further than you ever thought possible. One drop, one step, one small action at a time. That is how you achieve the extraordinary. That is how you transform your life. In a world that celebrates grand gestures and massive success stories, we often overlook the quiet, steady power of small goals. But the truth is, transformation, true, lasting transformation, rarely happens in one giant leap. It happens incrementally, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every great achievement begins with a single step. The most successful individuals, the most profound innovators, and even the happiest people all have one thing in common. They started small. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They didn't look for monumental opportunities. They simply committed to one small action, repeated it consistently, and allowed the ripple effect to take hold. Why are small goals so powerful? Because they are achievable. They don't overwhelm you or trigger doubt and fear. When you set a small goal, one so manageable that it seems almost too easy, you build momentum. You create a sense of accomplishment. And that sense of accomplishment generates confidence. Let's talk about the brain for a moment. Every time you achieve a small goal, your brain releases dopamine, a chemical associated with pleasure, motivation, and focus. That little burst of dopamine encourages you to keep going, to set another small goal, and then another. Over time, these small successes rewire your brain. They teach you that progress is possible, that change is within reach. But there's something even more profound happening beneath the surface. Each small goal, each tiny achievement, begins to shift your identity. You're no longer someone who wants to change. You're someone who is changing. You're no longer someone who dreams of achieving big things. You're someone who is actively achieving them, one small step at a time. This is how habits are formed. This is how new neural pathways are built. When you commit to just 5 minutes of meditation every morning, you're not just meditating. You're becoming a person who values inner peace. When you choose to write one paragraph a day, you're not just writing, you're becoming an author. When you go for a 10-minute walk after dinner, you're not just exercising. You're becoming someone who prioritizes health. The magic of small goals is that they are sustainable. Massive goals often lead to burnout because they demand so much of us so quickly. But small goals? They fit seamlessly into our lives. They are the seeds of change that grow over time. Imagine planting a tiny seed in the soil. At first, it seems insignificant. It's easy to doubt its potential. But with consistent care, water, sunlight, patience, that seed begins to sprout. Over months and years, it becomes a towering tree, offering shade, beauty, and fruit. Your small goals are no different. They may seem inconsequential at first, but when nurtured with consistency and patience, they have the power to transform your life. There's a beautiful phrase: how you do anything is how you do everything. When you approach even the smallest task with intention and purpose, you train yourself to approach everything with intention and purpose. You begin to see that every moment, no matter how small, is an opportunity to move closer to your vision. I urge you to release the pressure of trying to achieve it all at once. Instead, focus on the next small step. Break your big dreams into bite-sized pieces. Celebrate every little victory along the way. Remember this: It's not the size of the goal that determines its impact. It's the consistency of your effort. It's the courage to begin, the discipline to continue, and the faith to believe that even the smallest actions can lead to the greatest outcomes. So start today. Set one small goal, something so simple, so achievable that you can't help but succeed. Then set another, and another. Watch as your life begins to change. Watch as the small becomes big, and the impossible becomes possible. Because the truth is, the greatest achievements in life are built not on leaps, but on steps. Not on moments, but on momentum. And it all begins with one small goal. When we talk about achievement, most of us focus on the big moments, the awards, the promotions, the victories that are visible to the world. But the truth is, the foundation of every big success lies in the smallest, seemingly insignificant steps we take every day. Small goals, when approached with clarity and consistency, have the power to create the biggest achievements in our lives. Consider this: your brain is a record of the past, filled with habits, patterns, and routines. Every action you take today is a reflection of what you have practiced in the days, months, and years leading up to now. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always gotten. But the moment you decide to change, even in the smallest way, you begin to rewrite the program. It starts with a simple decision. A decision to wake up just 5 minutes earlier. A decision to drink water instead of soda. A decision to focus on gratitude instead of frustration. These small actions may seem trivial at first, but repeated over time, they become habits. And habits shape your destiny. Neuroscience teaches us that every thought you think and every action you take carves a pathway in your brain. The more you repeat it, the stronger the pathway becomes. It's like forging a trail through a forest. The first time, it's difficult and unfamiliar. But the more you walk that path, the easier it becomes to follow. Eventually, it becomes second nature. This is the essence of personal transformation. Big achievements are not the result of sudden bursts of effort. They are the accumulation of small, intentional choices. Want to write a book? Start by writing 1 paragraph a day. Want to change your body? Start with 1 push-up or a 5-minute walk. Want to shift your mindset? Start by noticing 1 negative thought and replacing it with something positive. The beauty of small goals is that they are manageable. They don't overwhelm us or trigger our resistance. When you focus on small goals, you give yourself permission to succeed. And with each small success, you build momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. It transforms effort into ease, struggle into flow. And as momentum grows, so does your confidence. You begin to realize that the life you once thought was out of reach is not only possible but inevitable. Small goals also keep you present. They remind you that every moment is an opportunity to move closer to your dreams. Instead of getting lost in the enormity of your vision, you focus on what you can do right now, today, in this moment. And as you stay consistent with those small goals, something extraordinary happens. You start to feel differently about yourself. You begin to identify as someone who takes action, someone who grows, someone who achieves. And that shift in identity is the biggest achievement of all. Because when you believe in your ability to create change, there are no limits to what you can accomplish. The small goals you set and achieve today lay the groundwork for a future that is greater than anything you can imagine. So don't underestimate the power of the small. Embrace it, celebrate it, and watch as it transforms your life in ways you never thought possible.